like I said, Chandni has been the key driving factor for all things employee experience at HCL Tech. Chandni, would you want to start with a quick intro of yourself and how, a little bit of landscape on HCL Tech before I get into the fun questions?
Right. Okay, I think I don't know much about introduction about myself, but yeah, I've been with HCL Tech for a little more than 15 years now, and we call ourselves as a people and culture team, wherein everything that you connect with an employee, any experience that the employee needs to go through, and that's what builds the culture of the organization, right? Be it from a D&I, be it the wellness aspect, which is one of the most important aspects that's come up now, be it the experience that the employee goes through in the entire life cycle. And we want to ensure that the life cycle is the extended one, right? So all of that combined together is where what we are doing is trying to touch people's life by giving them great experience, and that's what creates the culture of the organization. So it's a circle. The culture is not created, it's not created in the boardrooms, right? You can't just decide today, this is the culture of my organization, and this is what it's going to be, right? So it's built over years. So it starts off from people, the employees who feel and behave in a certain way. That's the culture of the organization. And once the culture of the organization is built, that's how people start behaving then. So it's a cyclic thing.
No, absolutely. And I think what I've also seen with HCL Tech specifically is structure. Because when you have this massive scale of employees you're trying to create something for, one size does not fit all, but at the same time, you have to create a framework which is structured and scalable and works for everybody. I also feel that I think one of the good things which you guys have done is you've tiered all your appreciations, awards. There are so many types of programs you're running. Can you talk a little bit more about that? And do you think that structure has really helped in maybe containing the madness which gets associated with building something for everybody?
Right. Absolutely. I think there are two things that we're talking about here, right? One is the scale, which is overwhelming by itself because it's just not about the number of people. It's also about the number of, space that we are in. It could be different continents that we are, different geographies, right? Culturally different. So it has a lot that we need to kind of look at when we are creating a structure. Now, when there's not a structure, I mean, rewards and recognition can just happen. People can feel good about it, right? It's a one-off thing. Then it becomes an event. When you don't want it to be an event, you want it to be an habit, you need to create a structure around it, right? And the structure is when it becomes a part of your life. And I think it's a very important, recognition is a very important brick in the foundation of building a culture of an organization, right? So if I look at from how do we create a structure, I'll start off with saying we need to align with the values of the organization. What is that you want our people to behave? I mean, that's the behavior, right? And you're rewarding someone for the right behavior and you want them to continue and replicate the same behaviors. So it needs to align with your values of the organization. Then is, when you talked about tiered, right? So it needs to broaden the aspect. It is not just always the manager who's giving the recognition. It's not the manager's KRA, right? That it's only me who has to keep giving. I think it comes across, it's a 360. So an employee can give, thank you boss, right? Thanks mentor. It could be different cards there. It is peer-to-peer recognition as well. And that's what we call it as more as a gratitude aspect as well, right? Where you have, that you can give, thank your peers for doing, supporting you, helping you. So those are different aspects that, again, you're broadening the entire aspect. One more aspect is it's not about only performance. You did talk about, right? It's performance, but it's also more about, I may be good at something and I think we need to be rewarding for every good thing an employee brings with them. So I could be a great volunteer. I did a great volunteering job in my CSR aspect. Or I have invested time in my own self in building my skills. I think that's something that we've always been talking, right? Every HR person talks or every leader talks about, you need to upskill yourself, you need to reskill yourself. So if you're investing that time in yourself, that's also an important aspect. So those are things that we are trying to cover, that it's just not one aspect of recognition, but multiple aspects of recognition that gets covered. Then is celebration. You need to celebrate every win. Big, small, doesn't matter. You need to celebrate every win. Platforms do help, that's the digital aspect, but I think it's also the other aspect of the symbolic awards as well, right? You get gift vouchers, which is great, but I think the symbolic awards, standing on a stage with a trophy, is a high by itself. So we also look at how we can celebrate, in those are events where you have the trophies given, the families come in, the leaders standing on the stage and giving away the awards. I think those are also equally interesting. And then to ensure that these are not sporadic or they're not random. It's a regular aspect. It's a part of your habit. Is where the nudges really help. The digital nudges will help saying, you need to do now. You need to. So every now and then when you get those nudges, and people who procrastinate, right, it becomes easier for them. Oh yeah, I need to do that. Twice, the third time you see a nudge, you'll be pushed to do that. Then it becomes a part of your life. Then it's not an afterthought of saying, hey, you know what, I need to be doing something, but it becomes a part of your thought. So I think all of these aspects is something that we've tried to cover and create a structure, and we have seen it move from where it was to where it is today.
Yeah, and you made a very important point on managers and leaders being kind of involved. Like if you have to give awards, then you have like a leader who's doing that, and a lot of times companies struggle with adoption there.
Right.
And how do you really? I mean, peer-to-peer appreciation eventually you could drive a lot of campaigns and people can do that, but how do you really drive these managers and leaders to, they're so busy to kind of think about this in the first place. So how has HCL kind of taken up that, and how have you driven high utilization?
If you look at, so these nudges really help us, right? And the campaigns, as you said, really help in putting this as a part of your daily life. It's not something that, it's an activity that you need to do. It's not a prescriptive one that, hey, you know what, you are a manager or you are an employee and you need to send one card a day. It's not a prescription there, right? It becomes, it's a good thing to do, and you see a difference. You see the motivation levels going high, and I think there are multiple researchers and the actual outcome that you see within your team that it makes the difference of improvement. And I think then it becomes a part of your habit.
Yeah, and habit formation. I think that's a great point, that instead of thinking of adoption, we should think of habit formation.
Right.
How can we make this so obvious that it's like part of our daily lives, and you don't have to really run programs? It just becomes so obvious that people are doing it every day on their own. Very interesting. And you spoke a little bit of digitization, and I think what I also like about HCL is that it's also phygital in nature, right? You will have these digital rewards going out on like a very structured and very regular basis, but you will also have these leaders who will bring people on stage and then give them trophies, right? So it's a good mix of both, and you've really hit the nail there. So from a scalability standpoint as well, like 200,000 people across 90 countries, do you think digitization has helped you there? And maybe just talk a little bit about what you feel in maybe the digital world has helped you in terms of standardization of policies.
I think very interesting, and digitalization was not a choice, but it was a must, because again, with 200K plus employees across 60 countries, it's not a possibility, right? You can always, I mean, recognition was not a problem. You can always do that. It does happen, but I think standardization was a problem, right? And the scale is humongous. So what we wanted to do was what we did, and partnering with you, I think it was a very interesting journey that we've seen till now, is we wanted to ensure that when we're creating, the scale, but it had to have the soul in it, right? It just can't be, sometimes the scale kills the soul. And that's something that we were really conscious of. So I think the first thing that is about standardization, the framework or the philosophy of recognition remains the same, and it's across the continents, right? But it needed to have the local nuances as well. The local nuances are there. So for example, the redemptions, right? It's very specific to which country, which state, which city I am in, and I kind of get what are those options available. So I think standardization with the local flavor is something which was the first thing that the platform helped us. The second thing, if I look at, was the speed. Sometimes it's difficult. I mean, if you have to reward someone, or trigger a card, if you have to click 5 times, I think you've lost the person in the second click, right? So that's where we saw that, less the number of clicks, probably just 1 or 2 clicks, and I'm able to reward someone. I think that really helped it make faster. And we did see the adoption go up. We did have earlier with multiple clicks, and the adoption was less, and now with just 1 click, we are able to see that the number of people who are triggering the cards has become so much more better. The third thing which digitalization helped us was the analytics, right? That's the strength that brings in about saying, what's the kind of report, how many managers triggered, how many didn't trigger, or how many of my employees did get any recognition or didn't get any recognition. If they didn't get anything, why did they not? So as a manager, then I can put in efforts of finding out what's not going right, what's going right. So it's not just about saying whether someone got a recognition or not, but what is the reason behind not getting, and I kind of work around that bit. So that really helps. And the second thing is the digital nudges, because those nudges are persona driven, right? If I'm a manager, I get a different kind of a trigger. If I am, a team member, I get a different kind of a trigger, right? So these, persona-based digital triggers, the nudges really help. So I think digitalization was, again, as I said, was not a choice, but it had to happen. And I think we are glad that it did happen in the right way, and the journey has been very interesting till now.
Yeah, and what I like is that journey still continues going on because we keep bringing new frameworks, we keep building new things day in, day out. And what I really like about HCL is that if there's a problem, there is always a way to figure out a digital solution to that. That can we digitize this? Can we automate it? Can we like standardize it and not do this manual work? So that I think that obsession for excellence for employees has also helped drive the right message forward.
Right.
No, I love that. And from a recognition standpoint, of course, you guys are doing a lot, but from like general belongingness and community building as well, you have a lot of clubs, you have a lot of groups, you have shared interest circles, and you also do different types of, non-culture and performance-based recognitions. Like you guys do employee referral-based rewards as well, which is also very unique. And I've seen very few people in the industry actually do that. So can you talk a little bit about both of these aspects, and have you seen these initiatives influence general employee experience?
Right. I'll take a cue from the money bit that you said, right, about anxiety. Most of the employees' waking hours are at work, right? You would have, and the passions that you had as a kid or as college going, you don't have that time to do anything. And all of that builds up the anxiety and anxiousness, right? And that's something which is not good for the individual or for the organization because the performance levels goes down. And that's why we created those passion groups. We call them as passion clubs, where like-minded people come together and and have fun. So we have clubs like starting from singing, dancing, photography, biking, cycling, and so on. So there are multiple things that pretty much run. And we've seen, so this platform again has helped us bring the people because one, it is personalized as well. We're present across geographies, right? We're present across so many, within India, we have like 10 cities where HCL Tech is present. So I don't want to know if there is a group going cycling somewhere in Hyderabad because I am in Chennai and I need to know something what's happening in Chennai. So this particular platform helps me to know what's happening in my city, my location, and accordingly, plan for it. So we've seen the engagement levels go so much. And the best thing here is that automatically built up leadership, collaboration, team working, because this is something which is run by the employee for the employees, right? And we only help and support them and facilitate them and getting it done. So yes, we've seen the engagement levels really go up. You also spoke about the referral, right? So referrals till now was more from an employee's aspect of earning money, right? I refer someone and I get some money. I think money was the most important aspect. And we wanted to kill that bit of it and say, hey, you know what, you need to be the good citizen, right? So in an organization, you want to be working with some good people, your friends, then become so much more interesting. So, and that's why we wanted to say, hey, you know what, refer your friend and gain by it, right? And when you're saying, in that as well, we've said that, hey, you know what, you can redeem your points for something which, for your own upskilling, be it from learning, be it for, hobbies that you want to do, or be it, donating as well, right? So we wanted to make that as a good citizen aspect rather than a money-making aspect. And we wanted to shift the entire thought process there. So I think these platforms have, again, supported in enabling those thought processes.
No, I like that concept that you're still getting money for the referral, but you're not thinking about money when you're referring somebody.
Right.
So that good citizen concept is really cool because you could do the same thing, but you could drive a different message home from that same thing.
Right.
So that's really interesting to me. Interesting. And from like a looking ahead standpoint, of course, the world is changing really fast, and technology has been moving faster than we can think. So, what do you think? What are the trends you're most excited about, and what do you think stands as the future of employee experience as we move forward?
Fine. We're building the future every day. So I think what we've already done is democratizing it, that anyone can, trigger cards. It's not a set of people who should be. So one, democratizing. Second is social. All of us want to be in the, social media, right? Where I get likes and I've been seen. So I think this really helps us, the the social, the digital wall which is there, and also we also have that aspect that I can directly from here put it on the LinkedIn saying, hey, you know what, I was recognized by so and so, by my manager or anyone, right? So that social aspect is important. Third is gamified. I think gamifying, we love gamification, right? It builds a healthy competition. It also pushes and encourages saying, hey, you know what, I've come here and I want to go ahead. So gamification is important. This we've already kind of doing, but the other aspect that I would say is it's personalized, but I think we'll need to go a little bit more hyper-personalized, exactly what. And then the last thing I would say is on the predictive AI, right? You did talk about, wherein the manager just says, good work, right? So sometimes I want to be genuine, but I'm a coder, I'm a developer, I can't really write good English, right? So this AI should be able to help me. So two aspects. One, the English should be able to help me. And the second one is about sending the nudges at the time, because hey, your employee or your manager, your team member just got an appreciation from the client. This is the time you trigger. So I think that timely trigger, that is something we are looking forward for.
Yeah, no, amazing. And I think it's like you said, right? Nobody wants so many clicks anymore. Like, we're going in a world where people just want to, like, I have people calling their friends on through voice messages. They're like, hey, Siri, call XYZ. Not even picking up the phone. Forget about making clicks and doing all of that. Calling through your watches and stuff like that. So the world is changing, and I think HR tech also needs to change in that direction, and everyone needs to try to, I mean, if we are using cell phones in the real world, why should we be using landlines in our HR tech world, right? In our companies. So I think that shift needs to happen eventually. No, love this. And I think this was more around the serious parts of today's session. And now I have like a few fun segment, like I have a few fun questions for you. So my first fun question for you is, if you could give one piece of advice to your younger self, what would that be?
I'm still young,
I know,
so
you're still young. But way younger.
I think, relax. There is more, there is more to life than just work. You don't always have to be 200% of yourselves, right? So give some time to outside work as well. I mean, that would be for me.
Yeah, no, I think, and this was a very our generational thing, right? I mean, when you're young, there's a lot of pressure that you need to grow, you need to get to this level soon, you need to do this, you need to do that. You only have so many years of, early age left, and then you will be older and all of that. And I think that is the time. If you don't take risks then, when will you take risks in the future?
Gen Zs have thought that.
Yeah, they've figured it out, finally. Next question. And this is a question which I usually ask a lot of people, and they get baffled with this question. If you had no budget constraints at all, what would you do for recognition?
I guess budget is never an issue in R&R, right? The magic lies in how you do it and not how much you spent on it, right? It's just a simple pat on the back, or it's just a simple thank you, authentically said and publicly done. I think it creates a magic. Budgets are
irrelevant. I like that, but I'm sure a lot of people might not agree with that. But yeah, I think in your case, of course, budgets are irrelevant because the employee strength is so core to everything that the budgets come on their own, right? Awesome. Next question. What would have been your alternate career if you were not in HR?
not in HR. I would still be doing something which is relevant to people, where I could change or do something in people's life, making it better. So probably the Prime Minister of the country, trying to create processes and policies, touching
I did not see that coming. I'd be doing something related to people. Maybe Prime Minister of the country. No, I love that. Great, awesome. This was a really helpful session, and just for people watching, if you'd love to chat with Chandni, I think she's here for a couple of hours more as well today, and she's available to talk, and she can help understand people's frameworks or help with yours, or chat a little bit about hers. And as for me, I'm at the booth, the Advantage Club booth, and if you'd love to chat anything about recognition, I'm there. We're also running a raffle. We did not bring an iPhone this time because we realized the last time when we brought an iPhone that people didn't take it. So we brought a PlayStation this time. Oh, wow. So as a raffle, so if you would like to gift a PlayStation to yourself or your spouse or your child, please do come and participate in the raffle, and we will be announcing the results today at 4. But this was really, really nice, and thank you for spending your time with us today. And I'm sure people will really learn from your insights. And once again, really appreciate your time.
Thank you so much, Smriti, for calling. And I think it was interesting conversation. And thank you for all the partnership that we have. And I think this journey has been very interesting for us because I think we've been together all night.
Thank you, Chana.
Thank you.
Thank
Thank
you.
you so much. And my colleague Ashish Hall, Director Knowledge and Advisory and Business at PSC Sharm India, to felicitate Smriti and Chandni for that wonderful discussion. Ladies and gentlemen, please give it up for Ms. Chandni and Ms. Smriti.